right. Great show.
Wow, well, listen, thank you.
You guys want to talk about, no, she's tied up. She's tied up. She can't do this.
Who says?
Out of curiosity, Senator, I mean, is there any profession that you're not going to try?
Well, after this, I was thinking maybe about retiring until I read the president's budget. I see now I'm never going to do that.
Tell us tell us about the, quote, stimulus package.
Oh, well, it's a part of a bigger picture. I mean, what is going on here is the president is taking advantage of the crisis and pretty much told people what he's doing. Taking advantage of the crisis, trying to keep people frightened enough for him not only to spend the money that we're seeing him spending now, the biggest spending spree in the history of the world that we'll pay for dearly down the road, but to slip in all the substantive policy changes he wants to have made in healthcare and energy and education and so forth. You know, we've tripled spending in education in the last 30 years in this country. That's not enough. Throw more money at that. None of this, I don't believe, would stand on its own. But all wrapped together and kind of put in the midst of all of this, you know, he's got a much better chance of doing that. So it's really revolutionary. And as far as the stimulus package is concerned, you got two questions. One, will it work? And two, what if it does? On one, will it work? What are you going to turn to find that out? Well, you got history and common sense, and it fails both tests. Never worked in the history of our country or any other country. If it does work, if we do get out of the recession a little earlier than we otherwise would have, if we do save a few jobs that we otherwise wouldn't have had until a little later, people are going to go back to work eventually. What's the cost for that? Well, the cost is unsustainability. The American people have to focus in on, and that's one of the reasons why Jerry and I are doing what we're doing. You know, we're going to, George, we're going to get our platform, and we're going to say our piece, and we're going to tell it. We're going to tell it like it is, and before the economy went down, before the stimulus package was passed, we were on an unsustainable glide path. And we're all a part of that. It's been going on for a long, long time. We talk about environmental concerns and global warming and things that people argue about, speculate about, and so forth, and yet we're facing something that we know for sure is coming down the road that's going to wipe us out. And that is the entitlement problem. And now, you lay on an already unsustainable situation that our children and grandchildren can't possibly survive. You lay this multi-trillion-dollar burden on this economy on top of that. And are you going to pay for that? You'll never pay for that. The only way that he can plausibly even argue you can pay for that is to have estimates about future growth in the economy that nobody agrees with. No economy agrees with. The CBO doesn't agree with. And tries to, sell that bill of goods as China sits back and watches and says, okay, well, all of this money going into the economy on top of an unsustainable situation, would that not make it even more unsustainable? Does that not almost invariably lead to inflation? We've seen this happen before in other parts of the world. It's Banana Republic type stuff, where it takes a wheelbarrow full of money to buy a loaf of bread. But all of that stuff, all of that money going into the system, and the Chinese saying, how are they going to ever pay for that? Could they have in mind perhaps devaluating their currency and inflating their way out of this problem? It's the only way. You can't raise taxes enough. Talk about taxes on the rich. He could take every dime of income of all those that he considers rich, and it wouldn't pay for what he's talking about. Wouldn't come close to paying. So we're going to inflate our way out of it down the road, they will conclude. And what does that do to their willingness to invest in us and continue to prop us up, especially when they're having their own problems and need to spend it inside their own country? It is a train wreck. We're headed toward a cliff in a brand new Jaguar. And
Hybrid.
And hybrid. And, you know, it is, but nothing's inevitable. I don't think Atlas has shrugged. With all due respect to Dagny Taggart and Hank Reardon. Where did the other ladies go? Well, I'm going to talk a little Atlas Shrugged with it because it's a great book. But it's still left up to us. Nothing is inevitable in this country. It's certainly not as long as people like this are alive.
You mentioned global warming parenthetically, and it just reminded me of one of my favorite moments from the campaign. When that school marm editorial page editor for the Des Moines Register, do you remember this? Asked the Republican candidates to raise their hands if they believed that global warming was primarily caused by man. And there were a lot of other lemmings on the stage who immediately shot up their hands. And there was another candidate who sort of went like this. And there was one guy on the stage who said, I'm not going to raise my hand.
No handshakes.
And every time I need to be cheered up, I have that. We YouTube clipped that clip on hotair.com.
Yeah, just when you think they can't denigrate that presidential process anymore.
Even more, exactly.
Somebody like her comes along and gives it a try.
But there were 2 points. One was, you know, the fact that they gave this very mediocre, school marmish liberal media figure a platform to, you know, to rule that roost. But then also with regard to this issue of global warming, that there are far too many Republican capitulationists who are willing to raise their hands and give in and not fight for truth and science, and to allow Al Gore propaganda to be taught to their own children.
Do you notice when Al shows up on the Hill to give a speech, that it's always in the midst of a blizzard or a snowstorm?
God bless
my favorite story, recently got a little bit off point, but my favorite Al Gore story of recent vintage is, I kind of made up actually. It's got you know, they're talking about the economy, and you know, the president's talking about we're standing on the edge of the abyss from which we will never recover. Be scared, be very, very scared, and you know, unemployment and the stock market and everything, and the picture is that I envision is a banner. Al Gore sitting at the witness table talking the banner. We are all doomed. And one congressman turns to the other and says, finally some good news.
Well, Al Gore, fellow Tennessean, although I guess he grew up miles from here, right, on Embassy Road.
I actually have 2 questions, Senator. One is, first of all, you're an acclaimed actor, United States Senator, candidate for president previously, possibly again. How are you going to fill Bill?
Bobby Jindal and I are going to announce our candidacy. What a bump. Oh, by the way, can I come in on that? Some of these commentators need to get a life. Running these guys 4 years in advance. You know, building them up in order to take them down again. You know, coming stylistically and all of that, you know, and beating up on ourselves and so forth. What an unfair, ridiculous kind of a process you're making it for somebody who's just starting out. He's there for some reason, folks. He's there because of his background. He's there because he's a brilliant guy. He's there because of what he believes in. And they judge a performance. It's, oh, this guy can't be president now. Oh, you know, we'll just mark him off and so forth. You know, and some of we conservatives play into that. Don't do it. Give everybody a fair chance. It's 4 years away, folks.